So I'm gonna get right into it. Recently there's been a lot of articles about the fact that HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, are still relevant today because the service in which they providing is not really applicable today, in some people's opinion. And since African Americans have equal opportunity, sometimes more opportunity to attend predominantly white institutions, what's really the point of having HBCUs, and should we combine these institutions with PWIs, predominantly white institutions, in order to lessen the burden of state funds or taxpayers' money, and make them one big school or another campus of the same school? Or should we keep them around, and what for? And since I am a senior at a HBCU, I go to North Carolina State University in Durham, North Carolina, and I will be graduating in a few months. So being that I am almost going to be a product of a HBCU, you always have to examine why you choose to do stuff in your life path. And really, when I think about it, the chief reason is family influence. My father went to Livingstone College in Salisbury. My grandmother went to Johnson C. Smith University in Charlotte, North Carolina. So going to church and seeing teachers that went to HBCUs and seeing the pride that they had in HBCUs, it was like a lot of people around me, going to Winston-Salem, A&T. So I wanted to go to Central, to experience what they experienced, to have the pride that they had, to have the family atmosphere. Because going back to homecoming with my father was crazy, because it was like, he's best friends with these people. He still talks to these people, He still, he was in the band just like I am, so he was still talking about the band with people. Seeing the liveliness, seeing the soul. I really don't know how to explain it, but when you see it, you'll know. But it's just something that you just behold and you just admire. Distance. Durham is about two and a half hours from Charlotte, so it really gives me a chance to be away from my parents and grow up and become an independent adult. So I'm thankful for that. I feel like HBCUs still serve the same purpose as they did when they were initially created, but it's more towards a low-income demographic than a black demographic. It's just who chooses to take advantage of it, because we all don't have money to go to top 10 schools, or PWIs or private universities. So when you look at public HBCUs, their costs are way lower than those of other schools. So you have to do what's best for you, and they give out scholarships more willingly, especially to white people. So you have to like my parents say, go where the money is. And also, they take lower GPAs. I'm not gonna lie, well, I take that back. I take that completely back, because some of them do not take lower GPAs, but some do. And you have to, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because not all of us come from the same type of school systems. Not all of us come from the same area. And low income area, people are disenfranchised, especially with the school system. So people aren't really taught how to be students. So when you take them from those areas and put them in a collegiate environment, sometimes they learn. Sometimes it gives them a chance to learn how to be a student and make something out of their lives. Some of the greatest success stories came from HBCUs. And then you think about class size. It's pretty much just like high school, 27 to 1, at least at the smaller institutions. That's mine, And my institution has about 8,500, 9,000. So yeah, but it's more of a community. You're more of a person instead of a number or a statistic at the school. And also, the sense of community there, your peers want you to succeed. So it's like you have a support system. Even if you didn't grow up with, mother, father, grandmother, big mama, church family, even if you didn't grow up with that, you can find that at HBCU. You can find people that's rooting for you, because it's like a family. It really is. And really you get the same quality education. Because my father said, 2 plus 2 equals 4 at Harvard. I don't know why I thought so long. At Morehouse, at Fisk, at Yale, anywhere. It's the same answer. So why do we get caught up in, you know, the names and the prestige, really? You know, because we think about, I go to the #1 public HBCU in the nation, you know, according to the USA Today. Let me get prideful real quick. I know pride comes from a man fall. But you gotta love your school. Wow. Stick your chest out. Anyway. But let me see. In order to really keep a school open, you have to be over 35% of graduates in 4 years, you know. And we kill that, you know. We kill most white schools in that, you know, in the state of North Carolina. And so I feel like I went to a good school because we are the #1 public HBCU. We have accomplished so many things. You know, we're really a school on the rise. So you get the same quality education. You know, some people want to argue that HBCUs don't produce, but you look at people like Oprah Winfrey, Martin Luther King Jr., Tom Joyner, Keenan Ivory Wayans, most of the Wayans brothers. You know, the mayor of Durham, Bill Bell, he went to my school, North Carolina Central. Kim Fields, Mickey Michaud, Ben Ruffin, all went to North Carolina Central University. I mean, as far as the last people I named, you know, don't get misconstrued. But, you know, we are producing. We have always produced, we will continue to produce. So really, that's not a feasible argument to me. You know, another major influence to me was the band. You know, because I noticed most HBCUs have traditional style bands, and I grew up marching in a corps band at Independence High School in Charlotte, North Carolina. Y'all probably seen YouTube clips. You know, Hakeem Nicks came from there. Chris Leap came from there. You know, Muhammad Massaquoi, he went there. You know, not saying I knew all these people, but you know, it's a big football school. We haven't lost a game in 7 years. Once I graduated, then they started losing. But that's a different story for a different time. But we marched corps style. You know, nobody knew the band. It was all about the football team. And you know, it was painful. You know, marching out there, playing your little heart out, and to see everybody go to the concession stand while you marching, you like, oh man, you know. But I appreciated it because it gave me most of my foundation for my musicianship now, and it really taught me precision as it relates to competitive nature, you know. And when we got to college, and it was more fixated on entertainment, you know, and entertaining the crowd and having school pride, and it was less about being competitive, you know. As far as contests, we're still competitive now. I felt like it was only beneficial to me to join a traditional band because I always wanted to be a part of a traditional band. I always liked the stories, I liked their style, I liked the way they boogie down. You know, it was fun. And it's still fun. And I learned a lot about systems, and I learned a lot about myself by joining the Marching Sound Machine. Because you sit there, we had opportunities. Sound Machine, man, it's a band on the rise. Like, let's be my plug for the Sound Machine. But we went to Honda Battle of the Bands, I think 5 or 6 years straight. We didn't go this year. It's January 29th for y'all in the Georgia Dome. Get your tickets now, it's going down. But we didn't go this year. But guess where we went instead? The Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. It's like Macy's Day Parade, Rose Bowl. 300 million viewers get to view your band. That's a bigger audience than anything. And we were the only HBCU there. And that was like huge for us and for anybody who would go to the Rose Bowl. Like, shouts out to Western Carolina. You know, we were the only two NC schools to go there. But it was awesome. You get a good sense of community at an HBCU. You know, like, homecoming is crazy. You got dance shows, step shows, comedy shows, concerts. The game is crazy because everybody comes back. Like, everybody comes back for homecoming. Homecoming is homecoming. It's not just a game. It's like 2 weeks of activities. People open doors for each other. You know, we let women get in the elevator first. We speak to each other when we see each other. We're going to give you the respect you deserve. You know, if you're from up north and you don't understand the code, when you come down south to a black school, you're going to learn the code, you know. And it's like the friends you make. Like, I would take a bullet for most of my friends. I really would. But 10:40, nobody has class on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we just go to the Union and we just chill. There's a DJ there. There's music. The fraternities and sororities step sometimes. You know, the dance troops dance. The modern troops model. You know, people just go out there and chill. If you want to have voter rallies or, you know, voter registration rallies or AIDS awareness rallies, you can have it. Sometimes they hand out sodas. Sometimes they hand out T-shirts. Like, you know, you just don't get this stuff at PWIs. That's all I'm saying. Or maybe not the PWIs I've seen, you know. But then again, Fall Fest was the bomb in Carolina. But anyway, we get this every week. It's craziness. Chicken Wednesday. Sodexo does Chicken Wednesdays for many schools, you know. But Chicken Wednesday is an event at North Carolina Central University. Everybody's dressed up. You know, shirt, tie, blazer. You know, nobody's telling us to do this. This is just our culture. Girls got the heels on with the calves. You know, bow. You know, and woman to man ratio, 27-1. I might be saved, but I ain't dead, and I definitely not stupid. I had to do what's best for me. But like Chicken Wednesday is crazy because the fraternities and sororities, they be decked out in Nelia, you know, and everybody's just like everybody's there. It's like the it place to be. People, there's opposition about race relations, like since the schools are majority black, which is really not our fault, but if it's majority black, it's not representative of how the real world is, and many students that graduate will come into the workforce with not knowing how to operate within the culture of power and really have a culture shock. But when you think about it, like 70% of all students at HBCUs have outside jobs, you know, according to a statistic that I just made up. But really, they encourage you. Every school encourages you to get internships. Every school encourages you to find jobs outside your field before you graduate, so you're well prepared. So really, that's up to the individual if he wants to get a culture shock or not. I grew up around white people. I'm straight. But, you know, Ivy League schools, they have 98% white people there. Nobody talks about, you know, how it's not indicative of the real world. You know, nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about how female to male ratio isn't indicative of the real world. Like, really? I mean, okay, as far as like the real world, because there's more women in the world, but as far as the workforce, you understand what I'm saying? But everybody wants to talk about HBCU. I don't know why. You know, I don't know why we don't get as much funding as Carolina. But, you know, well, because we're a smaller school, but still, you know, something just doesn't seem right. But I'm not going to comment on it. It's another video for another time. But in closing, college is what you make it. You know, you can go to any school you want to go to. HBCU, PWI. I'm just showing my experience, and I'm just trying to, you know, shed light on the fact that HBCUs are still relevant in the 21st century, and I'm a product of it. I enjoy every experience at North Carolina Central. All the times I was hurt, all the times I rejoiced. You know, I enjoyed the person that I became because I went to this school. And when I get my degree, I will always be proud to say that I was a North Carolina Central Eagle. You know, so with that being said, follow me on Twitter, Sax Prophet. If you want to see my antics at the HBCU. But peace.